Morning, colleagues.
Morning, Deputy Speaker.
Good morning.
Morning, Deputy Speaker.
Morning.
Chair of Chairs, kindly. Morning, colleagues. It's a minute past 10 now. Yes. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning. Secretary, are we ready?
Good morning, Speaker.
Good morning.
Deputy Speaker.
Yes, morning. Speaker, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Deputy Speaker.
Okay, thank you.
Today, yes.
Thank you. Safe travels. Colleagues, let's start with the order of the business. I hope the Secretariat is ready.
We are ready, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you. Can I request that we observe a moment of silence for meditation and prayer? Ralph, do we have member statements?
Yes, Deputy Speaker, we do.
Okay.
There's a list of 4 members.
Sorry?
There's a list. We have sent it to you. 4 honorable members would want to make member statements.
Okay. I'm requesting that you read those out. I do not have it in my screen. Okay, there you go. There are no MEC statements in terms of Rule 79.1. We have member statements in terms of Rule 81.1 from Member Randall. Is Member Randall in the meeting?
Good morning and thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. It is extremely concerning to note that 16 million has been made available to upgrade the roads in Mfuleni, yet no money has been made available to fix and maintain the Curry Main substation. The DA has been inundated with complaints by residents from the community about the continuous issues around power supply in the area. Residents are left without power for days on end, yet they are paying for electricity. Their pleas, as well as that to the local councillor, have fallen on deaf ears. Madam Deputy Speaker, over the last 18 months, the residents in this area have been without power for almost 73 days. During this time, they have been without electricity for 28 days straight. The situation is untenable and cannot continue, especially during this winter period. Maintenance of electrical infrastructure is extremely important now, more so than ever, given the fact that many residents are working from home. Furthermore, each time the community is left without electricity, it negatively impacts on small business which cannot afford to purchase a generator. Madam Deputy Speaker, urgent intervention is needed, and I call on the MEC for Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, MEC Maile, to liaise with his counterparts in the Mfuleni local municipality to attend to the issue of urgent maintenance at the Curry main station. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Honourable Delange, is she in the meeting?
Good morning, Madam Speaker. Deputy Speaker, I am.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
The Tshwane Metro Administration will inhibit the legislative process of the Special Adjustment Budget for 2020-2021. Madam Speaker, the irregularities surrounding the Tshwane Metro's administration will inhibit the Special Adjustment Budget Appropriation Bill for the 2021 financial year, which is intended to incorporate expenses for the COVID-19 pandemic. COGTA's over-eagerness to dissolve the Municipal Council will have a domino effect on the functions of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature as well. I refer this House to Section 139(1)(c) of the Municipal Structures Act, and I quote, "Dissolving the Municipal Council and appointing an administrator until a newly elected Municipal Council has been declared elected, if exceptional circumstances warrant such a step. The administrators of Tshwane has drawn up a budget which is not within the legal mandate as per Section 30 of the Municipal Structures Act, Act 117 of 1998. Furthermore, the administrators have tried to appoint a municipal manager, which is only the Municipal Council with their appointments. The function of an administrator is only to oversee or to act as an interim caretaker of a municipality and cannot approve a formal yearly budget. With Tshwane it with unlawfulness. The power-mongering of the ANC is costing taxpayers, residents and the councillors of the city dearly. In their attempt to gain control, the legislature did not perform its duties and ensuring that or councillors are paid their salary back paid owed to them for last year, up to the point when COGTA eagerly placed the municipality under administration. The administration of Tshwane also failed in their responsibility on humane grounds to ensure councillors that must still do the groundwork for service delivery at no remuneration at least received the little money that is owed to them. We have now become so power blind that we lost sight of the fact that our duties and our responsibilities are about people and a better life for all. Instead of constantly quoting dead people, it is time that this generation act with integrity and make up their own quotes of wisdom, followed by actions. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Delange. Honourable Hoffman, are you in the meeting?
Good morning, Madam Speaker. I am. Thank you. Can I continue?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead. You can continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Geagte Speaker, vandag staan ons in hierdie spreekwoordelike huis in Gauteng en die land is aan die brand. Ons staan verdeeld en ons is gedompel in 'n traject van armoede wat ongekende afmetings gaan afneem. Speaker, ons as politici was veronderstel om leiding te gee binne Gauteng en moes ons sisteme in plek geplaas het om die inwoners en belastingbetalers te beskerm. Tog het die regering eerder gekies om die ondernemings binne Gauteng af te knou en te ruïneer. Slegs hulp te verleen aan maatskappye wat onder swart beheer staan. Kospakkies kontrakte is aan kaders gegee en het ons weer gesien hoe die ANC nie sal skroom om van sy eie mense te steel nie. Speaker, for the last 26 years, the ANC has failed us under normal circumstances. The COVID-19 epidemic dam wall is bursting. The ANC government has failed and shattered the hopes and dreams of everybody. Racial tension is stoked by politicians and sports stars who have nothing further to offer. Speaker, die skrif is aan die muur. en die pionne van sport hardloop soos rotte om die sinkende skip se gate te probeer stop. Nothing, it seems, Speaker, will stop the opportunism and corruption under the ANC. No racial blame gaming will stop the economy from collapsing, nor will the hate being spewed deter me nor any other thinking South African from standing up and creating a better future for all. Madam Speaker, we are all in this together, and if we divide our efforts and raise bait, we are all going to sink. Therefore, the ANC as the governing party must find a mature way forward to ensure collaboration by everyone without racializing everything to stave off economic and societal collapse. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Hoffman. Honorable Chitangalo, are you in the meeting?
Yes, I am. Morning, Deputy Speaker.
Morning.
The EFF would like to welcome Fighter Christina Mabala again as a member of the Provincial Legislature. Member Mabala needs no introduction in this august house. The Honorable Speaker can attest to that. Honorable Mabala brings an extensive experience as an activist who has been in the forefront of economic emancipation in the province since the formation of the EFF in 2013. She was appointed the regional coordinator of the leftist, radical and anti-capitalist movement in the West Rand in 2013. She was subsequently elected regional chairperson of the West Rand in 2014. As a selfless, trusted, humble servant of the revolution, the EFF deployed her to this legislature from 2014 to 2019. During this period, she represented the movement with distinction in the Health Portfolio Committee. The former MEC for Health, Dr. Gwen Ramukupa, knows her very well. She was instrumental in the ultimate resignation of Brian Hlongwa as Chief Whip. Her experience in tackling health-related issues affecting the marginalized is unmatched. This experience comes handy at a time when the country and this province in particular is fighting the surge in the rising COVID-19 cases. We today unleash Honorable Mabala to watch the health department like a hawk, especially after the damning allegations of corruption and fraud were reported yesterday by Corruption Watch. Honorable Masuku, tread carefully because we are going to be kept busy. Already there are corruption-related allegations in your department during this COVID-19 and all are pointing at your direction. Be very worried. Member Mabala also served in Standing Committee of Public Accounts, Roads and Transport, as well as Committee of Scrutiny of Subordinate Legislation. The EFF welcomes you, Fighter Comrade Mabala, and we hope all political parties, including the Congress movement, will give you all the support you need. Salute.
Yeah.
Viva.
Deputy Speaker, we can't hear you. You are on mute. Deputy Speaker, your mic is muted. Thank you. You look beautiful, by the way.
Yeah, we still can't hear you. You are on mute, Deputy Speaker.
Member Chitangalo,
Okay,
if this Keda is so good, why did you remove him from the legislature?
Honorable hang on.
Boss. You can switch on your video and see Member Mabala. For those who don't know me.
Boss.
Mara ringi wena na.
Shaba stokfela sa lona seo.
We have a naked video of one of your members.
Society.
Alukho uthula ne ora alika thula ga iwane fela. Rata ditaba.
Mokwebu ke rata phafo.
Order, comrades. Deputy Speaker.
Colleagues, I am.
Can we have some order, please? Can we have some order? Order, please. Deputy Speaker, can you order? Order, please. Come on, guys. Order, please.
Hello.
Order.
Yes. Colleagues,
Yeah.
the unknown user is also myself. Can I be let in? I'm using both the laptop and my phone. So do not wonder or worry who the unknown user is. It's me. Let's move right along. Those were the member statements for the day. May we move along to apologies. Secretary, do we have apologies? Do we have apologies?
We can hear you, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Okay, thanks, colleagues, for that. I'm experiencing connection problems. Please bear with me. Those were the member statements for the day. Or can I request the secretary to read out apologies if we've got?
Yes, Deputy Speaker, the apology is one of Honorable Moriarty, and also the Speaker earlier indicated that you will not be continuing with the meeting. That's all.
Thank you very much. Apologies noted and accepted. Secretary, the order, please go on, read out the order of the day.
Thank you once more, Deputy Speaker. Today's order is only one order, which is the introduction of the Gauteng Adjustment Budget Appropriation Bill G004 of 2020-2021 financial year. Thank you.
I now call on MEC Ngomorale to introduce the Gauteng Special Adjustment Budget Appropriation Bill G004 to 2020-2020 in terms of Rule 217, read with Rule 219. Thank you, MEC Ralihoko. MEC Ralihoko.
I understand she's trying to connect the speaker, maybe a few seconds.
Lesego, you can talk now. Lesego. Or Tina was removed because last thing I could have to remove a cow with a
Okay, now thing analysis.
You must keep quiet, man. You must keep quiet. Put your phone.
Bokotsi Molo Chitangano.
Oh, keep Brambis. I go to you. I thought the king Kilisi, who can to never Kilisi. If given a work, because him name. That I accept.
Are we supposed to understand what's going on here?
MPs, why was so mute? Why was so mute?
But that's there must be language tolerance. Just because other people are speaking another language, you are questioning whether you are understanding or not. That's not fair. All languages are equal.
Thank you,
The
Mr.
meeting is
Lesufi. We were not
conducted
aware.
in an official language. Can we please stick to that? Or you get us some translators?
What is the official language? What is an official language?
English.
12
English.
official languages in this country.
Otherwise, you get us
What
translators,
is
please.
tradition of Afrikaans?
Someone was speaking Afrikaans here. I didn't even hear. What is official language?
There's 12 official languages. We can't decide which ones are more important. Afrikaans and English are not the only ones.
That's not the point. The fact is we want to understand each other and take part in the meeting. That's why we use it as an international medium.
Order.
If you speak another language, please get us translators.
There's more. Don't undermine us, Wena. Oh.
Osman was speaking
Order, colleagues. Yeah, Speaker, Deputy Speaker, can we proceed, please? Order, comrades, can we proceed, please?
No, Chief Whip, we can proceed, but there's no one. Sorry, Chief Whip, there's no one who will claim African languages are not official in this house, and that person must withdraw that statement.
MEC, could you please keep quiet and let the speaker chair the meeting?
No, Delanga, you quite clearly said that there's conducted in official languages. There are 12 official languages in this country.
I said, can we use English as the official language? Otherwise, get us translators.
You should have
Order, comrades, can we allow the Deputy Speaker to run the meeting? Can we please allow the Deputy Speaker to run the meeting? Deputy Speaker, can you please run the meeting?
Yes, please. Can the MEC Lesufi just keep quiet?
He's not here, Chief Whip. He's not here. The Deputy Speaker is not here, yes, Chief.
Why didn't you call order when someone was discussing Afrikaans? Hey, stop disrespecting us.
Go ahead, MEC. MEC, can you please continue?
MEC, we are listening to you.
If the MEC is ready, can come in, leave the other things, the jokes, the bickering amongst each other, don't require really language. And as long as it's
Thank you, Madam Deputy.
Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready,
Yes.
Madam Speaker.
Yes, go ahead. Thank you.
Madam
The floor is yours. The mic is yours.
Madam Speaker and Madam Deputy Speaker, Honorable Premier David Makura, fellow members of the Executive Council, Chief Whip, leaders of political parties, members of the Provincial Legislature, MMCs for finance and councillors, representatives of the Auditor General's Office, senior officials of government and municipalities, representatives of business, organized labor, faith-based organizations, and civil society, distinguished guests, comrades and friends. Madam Deputy Speaker, yesterday we all woke up to sad news of the tragic passing of Istwalandwe, Tiaparangwentate Endrumlangen. We are truly poorer as freedom-loving people without his presence. Consistent love, guidance, original values which represent generations of founding forebearers of the African National Congress. When one reflects on his life and that of his generation, I realize how fortunate to have been favored by faith and belong to some same organization with him and done political work with him. As South Africans and as Africans, we are indeed chosen people that the revolution spirit have favored us to have been granted the greatest gift of birth. location of life of such brave soul who sacrificed everything he had for our own liberation. In Tatamlangen, what we have once enjoyed deeply, we can never lose in his death. And all that we love deeply becomes as part of us. Now for his precious life and sacrifice of all the benefits that virtue confers upon us, the contempt of death of one of the greatest, as the means that accommodates human life with a soft and easy tranquility, and gives us a pure and pleasant taste of living, without which all other pleasures would be extinct. In the past few years, now we have lost a legend of rare breeds and galaxies of this African revolution who epitomize selflessness, courage, humility, and best of our values amongst us. And Tatamlangen would always tell us that we must love those who can smile in trouble, those who can gather strength from distress and grow brave by reflection. For it is the business of little minds to shrink, but they whose heart is firm and whose conscience approves their conduct will pursue their principles unto death. Elders of Rivonia trial, which Tatamlangen was the remaining survivor of those accused at this trial, never immediately, but remain bathed in a sort aura of life which bears no reflection to true immortality, but through which they continue to occupy our thoughts in the same way as when we were alive. The greatest gift we can give to his life is to serve with humility, dedicate ourselves to the cause of our people, look after and spend diligently resources bestowed in the pure of our accountability to quantitative and qualitative change their life and positively impact on their livelihoods. Honorable members, we also lost Member Matsena last week, Thursday, and a special sitting to pay tribute to him was held 2 days ago. Let me once again send my condolences to both Tatamlangen and Matsena families for their loss. May their souls rest in peace. Today's history and fate has provided us as the generation with a unique opportunity to reimagine a new economic conscience from the ashes of the economic fallout as a consequence of global breakout of COVID-19. The fault lines of the economic system have laid to bear immeasurable inequalities, glaring poverty, and poor infrastructure, to which correction must be reimagined now. The socio-economic paradigm that we have inherited, so religiously followed and modified, has brought us to the height of unimaginable disaster of our time. Madam Speaker, I had ample time to myself and thought how we have tried to fit into the system, which does not respond to our historic background, unique situation, and a special type and its challenges. It is therefore interesting to note that at each interval, none of us could say our efforts are not making a serious dent to the legacy of our inherited past, which COVID-19 has so glaringly exposed for everyone to see. The previous crisis of the world, and indeed the current global public health emergency, has been so consciously characterized for everyone to understand where we come from, where we lived and believed as the system to come down trembling into our own eyes. Madam Speaker, if we harbor any hope of a real new dawn in the post-COVID-19 environment, a current socio-economic system and its precedent templates must be changed. The reimagined socio-economic trajectory, policy and strategy propositions of current discussion document, which is the reconstruction, growth and transformation, building a new inclusive economy, should have its foundation in an action that we take from today using legal prescripts and the budget instruments. Therefore, this special provincial adjustment budget comes as a sequel to the devastating and ravaging coronavirus pandemic across the globe and in South Africa. even more touching in Gauteng than everywhere else. Never in history and in our living memory within the current Public Finance Management Act have we been summoned by national or global circumstances to table a special provincial adjustment budget. Madam Speaker, this special adjustment budget is an instrument from Chapter 4, Section 31, subsection 1 and 2, from A to G of the Public Finance Management Act, particularly because of unforeseeable and unavoidable expenditure recommended by the Provincial Executive Council within the framework as determined by the Minister of Finance in his supplementary budget speech. As Gauteng Province, we have seen significant increases in the number of daily infections over the past 2 months. In the last 2 weeks, we have become epicenter of this pandemic in South Africa. According to the latest statistics from the Minister of Health, Dr. Zweli Mkhize, Gauteng had more than 145,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19 as of last night. As we approach the peak of this pandemic, more people have been hospitalized in our province, and many others have succumbed to COVID-19. On behalf of Gauteng Provincial Government, let me once again convey our sincere condolences to the families and friends of those that have lost as a result of COVID-19, and may God strengthen them during this difficult time. While we mourn those who have passed on, we have the duty as government to lead society in efforts to curb this pandemic and address related economic and social implications. In order to ensure that we address these challenges in an integrated manner, we have developed the COVID-19 response plan that is aimed at fighting the spread of this pandemic by reducing infection, particularly in cluster outbreaks, while at the same time addressing the associated economic, social challenges and around the Gauteng city region. The Gauteng Provincial COVID-19 Response Plan is based on the following 6 pillars. The first one is the comprehensive health response. Second one is the support to education. Third one is food security and social relief. Fourth one is enforcement and compliance measures. Fifth one is economic response. And the sixth one is social mobilization and social solidarity, which is very key in our pillars. This response plan is based on an urgent need to flatten the curve. As we ride through the peak, we have been warned about when the lockdown was first declared. The allocations that we are making today are strengthening these pillars. However, unless we pay special attention to individual behavior, all these efforts will be futile unless great strides are made on how people change their attitude towards this war. This provincial special adjustment budget is aimed at doing the following 3 areas. We are aiming at providing funding to the Gauteng Provincial Government COVID-19 response plan, safeguard the implementation of Growing Gauteng Together, which is our plan, and including the interventions of the province to grow the economy and create more jobs, ensuring that we maintain fiscal sustainability in the province. Honorable members, let me emphasize that Growing Gauteng Together plan remains at the core of our actions to bring about Gauteng of our dreams. The special adjustment budget, special provincial adjustment budget that we are presenting today takes into account the reimagined GDP 2030 that is targeted to respond decisively to the new socio-economic reality that we find ourselves in as a result of COVID-19. We are convinced that the comprehensive interventions of Growing Gauteng Together plan will assist us to mitigate current economic challenges, facilitate job preservation, ensure socio-economic recovery in this period. Gauteng's intervention in the response to the COVID-19 crisis are guided by the following principles. The first one is the protection of low-income workers, unemployed and vulnerable groups in the society, strengthening the productive capacity of the domestic economy. The implementation of these interventions must be done within the context of an effective monitoring and evaluation system so that government can quickly respond in areas of low rollout. Our message in this regard is that we are still on track with the implementation of Growing Gauteng Together plan. The reprioritization that we have done in this special provincial adjustment budget has not impacted negatively on the Growing Gauteng Together plan in terms of the programs. Honorable members, the impact of COVID-19 pandemic is as significant as the Great Depression and the Great Recession. The International Monetary Fund now estimates that the global economy will contract by 3% in 2020. Already the significant signs of this contraction are evident with the economies, major economies, such as the United States, China, and Germany, all contracting in the first quarter of 2020. This is expected to worsen in the second quarter as the increasing impact of the national lockdown measures takes effect on the economic activity. The extent of this current recession has not been fully laid bare. There are clear indications of disruptions to global supply chains as manufacturing production declines, as do the prices of key energy and non-energy inputs, including precious metals. The disruption of investment projects is of a serious concern as investors re-evaluate prospects now. Already the first quarter investment in Japan and in Germany and in US has declined. This signals a call for policy action. Honorable members, you will recall that even before the advent of the pandemic, our country's economy had already entered a technical recession due to a number of factors, including low business and consumer confidence, low growth in investment, and constrained fiscal space amidst the growing funding needs for the state-owned enterprises. The current data in South Africa hint at the further negative impact on the COVID-19 on economic activity. The first quarter decline in GDP signals a clear recession that will deepen the second quarter. Current forecast from the National Treasury suggests that the economy will contract by 7.2% in 2020, mainly as a result of the national lockdown. However, in 2021, a recovery to 2.6% is expected. Closer to home, in the first quarter, the provincial government contracted 1.3% after a contraction of 1.4% in the fourth quarter of 2019. Current forecasts suggest that the Gauteng economy will contract by 6% in 2020. That is why we are taking 8 additional steps to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 on the provincial economy and protect particularly the poor, the vulnerable during these difficult times. Honorable members, we are a caring government, and that's why our country, using limited resources at our disposal, is implementing one of the largest COVID-19 interventions in developing world. Through the 500 billion economic stimulus package that was announced by our president, Babu Ramaphosa, in April, various social relief measures have been rolled out through the existing social grant system to protect the vulnerable households in Gauteng, and indeed the rest of the country during these difficult times. In addition, economic relief measures are being implemented to firstly preserve the economy and jobs, including jobs. Through the Unemployment Insurance Fund COVID-19 relief scheme, we have seen that. Secondly, to support the economy to recover. And lastly, to build a new economy and set in on growth trajectory that is necessary to create jobs and reduce unemployment. As Gauteng City Region, we support the national initiatives that have benefited citizens in this province. As part of special adjustment budget, we are tabling today, we are announcing the provincial economic response to COVID-19 to strengthen socio-economic recovery of Gauteng, which is the province that contributes more than 34% to the country's gross domestic product. Honorable members, let me now turn to the special adjustment budget. In March, I presented the provincial budget of 146 billion for the 2020-2021 financial year. Today, we are increasing the budget for this financial year 246 billion. This is a 4 billion upward adjustment of the budget, mainly because we have allocated additional resources to the provincial response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Honorable members, the special provincial adjustment budget not only comprehensively responds to COVID-19, but also responds to the macro, micro, and social policy issues that are at the heart of the GDT 2030, and its commitment to growing Gauteng's economy and job creation. The rapid spread of the virus has severely constrained the public resources. However, despite extensive reprioritization of the existing baseline, the focus has remained squarely on the GDT 2030 and the resources allocated for the actualization of those comprehensive measures, which are crucial to economic mitigation, job preservation, and socio-economic recovery in this period. Honorable members, there are a constrained fiscal environment and very little resources have been transferred from National Treasury to assist us to fund our COVID-19 measures due to limited resources at their disposal. As a result, the department had to reprioritize internally while maintaining fiscal discipline to ensure that we fund our comprehensive response COVID-19 plan. In total, provincial departments collectively reprioritized 7.9 billion within the existing baseline to accommodate the COVID-19 related expenditure. This reprioritization was made possible by, amongst others, the realization of savings amid the national breakdown regulations, projects and events that impacted by COVID-19 pandemic, delays in the fulfilling of the vacant posts. I would like to thank all the departments for cooperating with us as we implemented the deeper reprioritization process that was absolutely necessary so that we can fund our response plan to COVID-19. Some of these reprioritization were finalized as follows. Under health, they have reprioritized 2.1 billion to implement phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 of the human resource capacitation requirement, and 786 million for COVID-19 infrastructure projects. Under education, we reprioritized 5.2 billion to comply with the national precondition of the opening of schools and to support catch-up activities. Areas to be funded include the appointment of additional personnel to assist the screening, social distance, hygiene, sanitization, and personal protective equipment. Under social development, we have reprioritized 257 million to procure PPE, upscale the food distribution program, and to provide shelter for the homeless during the national lockdown. Community safety reprioritized a total of 47.5 million, which includes funds for the payment of community patrollers and overtime of traffic officers deployed during the lockdown. Under the Department of Sports, Arts, Culture and Recreation, we have reprioritized a total of 79.4 million, which included, amongst others, funds for the relief to support artists and sporting professionals who suffered economic losses during the COVID-19 pandemic. Other provincial departments have prioritized budget to cater for the COVID-19 related requirements, such as the provision of sanitizers, masks to staff members, and decontamination of the office buildings. In terms of the comprehensive GPG health and social response to COVID-19 pandemic, the special adjustment budget allocates the following resources as follows, including that have been prioritized within the existing baseline as indicated above. A total of 5.9 billion is allocated to the health response and will be used to do the following. The first one will be to provide health infrastructure, including refurbishment of the facilities and build field hospitals. The second one will be to procure necessary medical equipment. The third one will be to ensure that the provision of personal protective equipment, oxygen and test kits are there. And the fourth one will be hiring and remuneration of frontline health personnel, which is a key component of the COVID-19 response. A total of 6.3 billion is allocated to the Department of Education, of which 5.2 billion has been reprioritized internally and 1.2 billion is new money aimed at COVID-19 resourcing the requirements outlined by the sector, which are a precondition to the resumption of the schooling. An amount of 88.9 million has been allocated to the Department of Social Development to deal with aspects of COVID-19 response and extend beyond the normal responsibilities, such as shelters for sustainable jobs and economic growth and development. In line with the provincial priorities as outlined in the DGT 2030, infrastructure budget directly supports the economy and delivery of infrastructure in the province. This infrastructure budget also contributes to other provincial priorities such as education, health, and human settlement. Despite the decreases in some departmental budgets, special provincial budget adjustment budget sees an increase in infrastructure budget by 5.3% from 11.6 billion to 12.2 billion. The increase is driven by the COVID-19 infrastructure requirements in health, where the budget for infrastructure has more than doubled from 2 billion to 4.2 billion. This budget will be used to provide additional health facilities and refurbish existing ones in the response to COVID-19 pandemic. This proposed budget protects the infrastructure investment in the province. However, more rigorously, measures must be exerted in improving our job creation targets and their achievement. The capacity of the spending of departments must be improved in order to avert the key risk that these budgets are not fully spent by the end of the 2020-2021 financial year. Through our infrastructure budget, we will continue to focus on doing the right thing in the right manner to get optimum results following good governance principles. As part of the review of the DGT 2030, departments ensure that they are ready for the implementation of their initiatives that is linked to their plan. Where acceleration and especially on infrastructure is possible, it must be implemented without delay. Growing Gauteng Together plan interventions will need to respond timelessly in a very targeted manner. Our interventions need to be tailored to a specific sector and for specific and vulnerable groups in our society. Growing Gauteng Together Plan 2030 contains a comprehensive measures that can help with the economic mitigation, job preservation, socio-economic recovery of this period. And therefore, it is critical not to lose sight of these measures because Gauteng is the engine of South Africa's economy. Towards the economic response, the following amounts have been allocated. We have allocated an amount of 250 million to support small, medium, and micro enterprises through partnerships with the private sector to raise money required to expand procurement and business development support. Supporting township economic development through regulatory reform and programs. 28.3 million is towards the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, Recreation as a relief fund, and 14 million is for the contribution to operational costs for the Tshwane Automotive Special Economic Zone. An amount of 47.5 million has been allocated to the enforcement and compliance measures to resource the operations of traffic officers and patrollers, as well as procurement of personal protective equipment. Furthermore, 20 million is allocated towards ward-based civic education and COVID-19 awareness. In this regard, I would like to call upon our people to continue to follow the golden rules of fighting the spread of COVID-19. Wear a mask when you are in public at all times. Wash your hands frequently, at least 20 seconds, and maintain physical distance and social distancing. It has been demonstrated globally that when it comes to fighting the spread of COVID-19, these golden rules are important to protect ourselves and to protect those that are around us. Honorable members, our people rightfully expect government to use their hard-earned taxes to respond appropriately and decisively to capping the COVID-19 pandemic. They also want us to implement the social and economic measures to safeguard their livelihoods that have been impacted severely by this pandemic. The Gauteng Provincial Treasury is fully committed to support departments, municipalities, and public entities in implementing their COVID-19 measures and providing oversight to ensure compliance with the rules and regulations when public funds are spent. Madam Speaker, in conclusion, let me express my profound appreciation to Honorable Premier David Makhura for his leadership and support and guidance to ensure that we allocate the limited provincial resources to key priorities that impact positively on the lives of our citizens. Ndabulela kakhulu tata the confidence that you gave it to me to lead even this department under these difficult conditions. But with your support, there's nothing that has been fallen in the cracks. Thank you so much. My colleagues in the Executive Council, the Premier's Budget Committee, chaired again by the Honorable Premier David Makhura, for their cooperation and participation in all the robust budget engagements. There is no way that you have left us unattended when we were dealing with these budget meetings, because you wanted a direction from us, Ufuna Sense into a righty, to assist the citizens of Gauteng. And I think we are following the tune. We are going to be in line with what we expect from us. The decline in the baseline allocations of departments as a result of reprioritization process at the national level, together with the anticipated decline of our own revenue collection, further complicated the work of the Provincial Budget Council to respond not just to health, but to all the departments in fighting this pandemic. Now we're busy grappling on how can we make sure that we go back to our own revenue collection so that we can up the game as the province. And with your advice, Premier, we know we will achieve this one too. The Premier's Budget Committee spearheaded the difficult process of determining how best to promote socio-economic development by allocating a limited resource envelope to unlimited funds. The Finance Portfolio Committee and the Standing Committee on Public Accounts, under the capable leadership of Honorable Joe Mpisi and Honorable Sotkayile, who's the member of Sotkayile Kanyile, respectively, for their insight and oversight on all the budget matters. My HOD team, Mfundo Shabalala, and the entire Treasury team for their hard work and dedication to efficiently manage the public funds. Thank you so much, HOD team. Lastly, let me take this opportunity to thank the most important people in my life, which is my family, especially my children, for their constantly support on my work of serving the people of Gauteng. They are a source of great strength to me. Madam Speaker, I present the Special Provincial Adjustment Budget in accordance with Section 31, Subsection 1 of the Public Finance Management Act of 1999. Thank you.
Why are you not clapping your hands?
Deputy Speaker, unmute, please. Unmute, Deputy Speaker. We can't hear you.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I'm saying thank you. That brings us to the conclusion of today's business. The next meeting is on the 11th of August 2020. And this house is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.